Welcome, everyone. I am so grateful to every single one of you. I already see that there are people from all around the world here, and I think it's so special. I get so much joy and value out of doing these calls because I'm able to just experience this sense of community and knowing that I'm not the only person who's in these kinds of situations. When I did this call, this is the third group hypnosis session I've done since we started this new kooky way of life that we've been experiencing with this social distancing. And when I put an announcement up on my page saying, hey, if I were to do a session about overeating during quarantine, a hypnosis session to help you stop overeating, people were, it was almost like I could feel them jumping up and down and saying, yes, yes. So it helped me know that I'm not the only one who's maybe felt a little bit more of a pull toward the fridge lately. And there are even people who said that they've never struggled with food. They've never struggled with the idea of overeating. And all of a sudden they're finding themselves drawn to the food and finding themselves having these different relationships and with eating. So I want you to know that you are not alone. I think something about knowing that we're all in this together can be really comforting. And my expectation, my objective for this session is to give you massive value, to give you everything you need moving forward to be able to break that overeating habit that you've been experiencing, whether it's for the past few weeks or whether it's for decades, that you'll be able to step into a place of a peaceful relationship with food. So I'm going to give you as much value as I can, and I'm going to keep this call to just 1 hour. So there's going to be a lot of things that might be left unsaid, some questions that are still needing to be asked. So please feel free to ask questions in the chat. Don't use the chat for side conversations, but ask questions. And at the end of the hour, I'll look at those questions and I will stay on the call. And I've also had a lot of people who have been talking about physical pain in their body during this time. And some of that physical pain has been causing overeating. And so I'm going to do a little mini hypnosis session at the end of the hour, going into the second hour, that will address physical pain. So if you've been experiencing physical pain anywhere in your body, let's go ahead and get that taken care of at the end of this call. And then I will also address the issue of exercise because it's just too much to do in one exercise. I personally strongly believe that exercise and weight loss do not have to go hand in hand. That if you're eating appropriate portions of food for the energy that you're expending during the day, that you don't have to exercise to lose weight. But I also think that it's incredibly beneficial mentally, physically, emotionally to move your body throughout the day. So if you've been finding it hard to exercise, I'm going to talk about that at the end of this call when we go into the second hour. And I'll record that and place the recording in the replay, so that if you aren't able to stay on past the end of the call, that you'll still be able to access that information at the time that's good for you. Okay, so to start off with, I would like us all just to kind of get fully into this moment. We're all finding, our lives are in a little bit of a state of upheaval right now. And so I want to acknowledge you where you are. And if you have distractions happening around you, if there are noises, people at home that aren't usually at home, I just want you to know that you can let those distractions be woven into a tapestry of comfort and just kind of fade into the distance as you zoom in and really focus on this moment. And I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone's mic right now. And that way we won't hear distracting background noises. And later on, I'll give you the ability to unmute your own microphone if you want to join in the conversation. Meanwhile, you can use that chat to ask questions. I won't look at the chat for a while because it will distract me too much, but we're up to 69 people on this call. And what I'd like you to do is just think about anything that has been bothering you today, perhaps anything that's creating tension or stress in this moment right now. And I'd like you to imagine that those things that have been bothering you or distracting you or making you worry or perhaps even making you feel a little bit depressed or sad, imagine that you could just gather all those things in your hands right now. And you can even physically hold your hands out. This works really well because when you get your body involved, it helps your subconscious mind know that it's okay to make some fun changes. So just all those things that were bothering you now being held out in front of you. And just allow yourself to just set those things aside. Just for a moment, just for this hour, knowing that they'll be there when you're ready. And if it's appropriate to pick them back up, you can. And if it's appropriate just to maintain that sense of peace throughout the day, that those things can just stay right there. And then I'd like you just to go ahead and tune into your breath right now. Think about the way you're breathing and just allow yourself to breathe from low in your belly as if you're inflating a balloon so that your shoulders are relaxed, your chest is relaxed. And just allow distractions to fade into the background as you tune into your breath. And I'd like you just to place your hands on your heart and think how cool it is that you're doing this with people all around the world right now. Even if you're watching the replay, you can do this as if you're here with us live. Thinking about the sense of community, the sense of togetherness. Just noticing this present moment, noticing peace. Noticing the sensation of being supported by the surface beneath you. Supported by this community. And then you can go ahead and relax those hands down. And I want to acknowledge that quite a few people reached out to me. I sent an email to everyone and said, hey, let me know where you are. What is the specific thing that you're struggling with? And some people talked about struggling with emotional eating or just feeling hungry all day long. And some people said, I'm not really struggling with overeating, but I'm drinking too much. I find myself continuing to drink throughout the day, perhaps drinking earlier during the day or more than I usually would. So I want you to know that every single one of you who messaged me, every single one of you who reached out to me, that the things that I'm going to share in this call will address your specific situation. So whether you messaged me or not, just think about the specific thing that's been keeping you stuck, the reason you joined this call today, and trust that the solutions you're going to hear are going to be just right for you. So for the first little bit of this call, I'm just going to explain some things that help you understand why the hypnosis portion of this session is going to work so well for you. And I also want you to know, because I'm covering so much in such a short amount of time, that when I send you the replay later on, you'll have access to watch this again. And I'm going to give you some really cool tools. I'm going to share a PDF with you in a moment that you'll have access to so you can save it to your phone. And remember this, because I do not like the idea of just giving you all this information and talking and overwhelming you. I want this to actually be experiential for you, because when you experience something during this call, it's going to start to actually literally reprogram your mind and build new neural pathways in the brain that allow you to experience peace with food and with drink. If it's alcohol while you're here today, this is going to radiate into both of those issues. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is just think about perhaps the time of day or the certain particular food that has been causing you problems. Maybe you do just fine until the evening. A lot of people message that. Maybe having your kids at home is creating a little bit more tension. Whatever the thing is that has prompted you to get on this call today, I'd like you to really think about that time of day. And you're welcome to think about this so vividly that you actually feel as if you're there right now. So you're looking through your own eyes, seeing what you see during that time of day, hearing with your own ears, feeling that pull to eat or drink more than you should, or maybe unhealthy choices. And as you're sitting here, just feeling that feeling of that's been creating that problem, I want you just to imaginatively scan your body and notice where in your body you feel that pull toward extra food or alcohol. And just playfully imagine that you could almost like draw a line around that feeling so that you can see how big it is, how much space it's taking up in your body. Just allowing yourself to really feel that craving just for a moment, knowing that it's safe to feel it in this space and that this is going to be the key to letting you release it in the future. Perhaps thinking the things to yourself that you think, it might be, oh, I'm just going to give in this once. This time doesn't count. I'll start again tomorrow. Why can't I get a grip? Whatever it is, perhaps eating from a place of boredom. And now I'd like you to imagine that feeling that you tapped into. Imagine that it comes outside of you and it moves out in front of you. So it's like you're looking at that urge, you're looking at that craving or desire. And just imagine that that feeling moves clear across the room and lands on the floor. And what I'd like you to do is just for a moment, open your eyes and look out over there where that feeling is now, as if you could look at that feeling. You might not really see something. You can just pretend it's there in the way that's right for you. And then you can just close those eyes again and relax. And now I'd like you to think about a time when you have said, absolutely not, I will not do that. Perhaps you could even imagine if some kind of a seedy character, someone who you have no respect for, came and asked you to do something really just that you would never do, something like rob a bank. And what would you say to them? You would say, absolutely not. And just imagine yourself right now saying, no way, I will not do that. And feel that in your body. Notice the sensation inside of that almost righteous indignation, saying there's no way. And notice where in your body you feel that the most. It's okay to make it up if you're not sure. And now, as you're feeling that no way feeling, just open your eyes and look over at that thing that's over on the floor again. And notice how it's transformed when you look at it while thinking, no way, absolutely not. And know that right now, even though we're just using our imagination, we're just kind of getting warmed up for hypnosis later, you are already retraining your subconscious mind to enter those experiences, those times that used to be really tempting for you. And now you're going to think, no way. You're going to remember this feeling of righteous indignation that there is no way I would do that. And you're going to experience that shift so that if you think about foods that were really bothering you, maybe you've been eating lots of sugar or drinks that have been kind of keeping you captive, or a certain time of day, or a certain trigger, that now you respond with this no way feeling. And imagine yourself doing that now. Imagine the next time you would have struggled in the past, instead that when you have that little urge that says, oh, just this once, or I'll start again tomorrow, or I want to comfort myself with food, whatever it is, notice instead that you think, all of a sudden you realize, no way. The same response as if somebody was telling you to rob a bank or doing something completely reprehensible that you would never do. And then you can go ahead and just come back to right now. Just opening your eyes, perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes a little bit, noticing the colors around you, and being in this moment with this amazing group of people. We're up to 73 people up on the call now, and I just want to acknowledge everyone. I'm so grateful you're here. I'm so grateful if you're watching the replay. And now I want to share an infographic that I made you. This is something that you'll have access to when you click on the replay. It will take you to a page that has this graphic, and you can send it to your phone. So this is my way of simplifying what I teach in my weight loss program. So some of you may know that I have a weight loss program called Weight Loss Without Willpower, and it's an 8-week program where I do group sessions like this every week, but it's a little cost prohibitive for some people. So I'm giving you this graphic as a way to summarize and simplify what I teach there. And for those of you in my program, there's several of you on this call, some of this is going to be brand new, so it gives you some fresh tools and a new spark and a new invigoration. So for these new challenges that we're experiencing in quarantine, it's going to give you the tools you need to have that peace with food and get back on track. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. Thank you for being patient with me while I figure this out. Okay, let me see. Will you give me a thumbs up? Paul, I can see you. Will you give me a thumbs up if you can see this infographic that says the winner formula? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I created an acronym that lets you easily remember the simplicity, how simple it can be to step out of a food craving. Sometimes I think we're looking for something really, we want this big aha moment where the skies part and the angels sing, or people who come to a hypnotist to help with their weight problems want someone just to control their mind and switch off that urge. So this formula is going to give you the tools to switch off that urge from now on. And I'm going to walk you through it, so when you look at this later, you'll remember exactly how to walk through it. Okay, so I just put on here the time when it's appropriate to use this is the instant you think about food. So for me, these past few weeks, I have noticed I'm here with my daughter, and we are bored, and we have a plan to eat really well, and then one of us will say, oh, what if we just have this thing for dinner? And so if my daughter suggests that, all of a sudden it's like all my resolve goes out the window, and I'm like, oh, whatever, well, just for tonight. So when you notice those little things, maybe it's a certain time of day, when you notice yourself starting to think, oh, I'm just going to do this, that's the time to use this formula. It's okay if you don't feel like it, just do it anyway, because it will soon become automatic and easy. I'm just going to peek at the chat really. No, I'm not, because I can't figure out how, but Paul, can you give me another thumbs up if you can still see everything all right? Okay, thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Okay, so the first step of the winner formula is that W that stands for wake up. So you're going to wake up from that food trance, that alcohol trance, whatever's been keeping you on this like autopilot, not great behavior. You're going to wake up by switching what I call your 3 Bs. So the 3 Bs are body language, breathing, and beliefs. And beliefs are simply your self-talk. So you're going to be amazed at how well this lets you step out of that food trance. Every single emotion that we experience, whether it's boredom or anxiety or depression or fear, or even like a mental or physical hunger, codes itself in our body language. So when we change our body language, it lets us step out of that craving. So what I would love for you all to do, and you watching at home or watching the replay as well, is imagine right now that a string is pulling you up from the top of your head. So if you're relaxed back for just a moment, go ahead and sit up nice and tall, and just imagine that a string is pulling you up from the top of your head, almost as if you're a marionette, and all the rest of your body just hangs loosely and comfortably. And now I'd like you just to lift your chin a little bit, just comfortably lift your chin towards the sky. Look up, almost as if you're looking up at a beautiful blue sky. And now smile. And I want you to smile like you mean it. Think about the most amazing thing happening and smile as if it's really happening right now. And then if it's comfortable, just stretch out your arms. Maybe rock back and forth a little bit as you just hold that smile, even if it feels weird, even if it feels like you're faking it. That's right. And just notice how in this moment, you feel completely peaceful and in control. Imagine as you're doing this, and you had that thought to eat extra food, what would you know about your ability to stay in control and peaceful around food or alcohol? And now I'd like you to take a deep breath to change that second B of your breathing by breathing through your belly like you're expanding a balloon. And with a long, slow exhale, just think to yourself, I am here and it is good. So changing those 3 Bs can be as simple as that, just adopting the posture of joy, and this sends a signal to your brain that you are okay. Changing your breathing so you're breathing from low in your belly, not up in your chest, but low in your belly, sends a signal to your body that you are safe. It takes you out of the fight or flight mode that many of us have been in, that's keeping us drawn to the refrigerator or drawn to extra alcohol. And switching up that self-talk. Two things can't occupy the same place at the same time. So when your self-talk is saying, I am here and it is good, or even just I'm okay, or I don't need that, or you could even look at that food and say, I'm the boss of you, you're not the boss of me. When you're thinking those empowered thoughts, it automatically turns off those thoughts about feeling like you're out of control or struggling. Okay, I apologize, I'm just seeing this chat that Cheryl said a lot of people can't see the infographic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing the infographic and I'm just going to walk you through the steps. I apologize to anyone who couldn't see that, and I'll just tell you the steps. So it's WINNER. W is wake up by switching your 3 B's. I is for intensity. So what you're going to do, there's generally 3 reasons why people eat or reach for extra alcohol. One is for emotional hunger, like we're trying to soothe ourselves or comfort ourselves or calm ourselves down or even numb ourselves because we don't like what we're experiencing. And I think a lot of us have probably been experiencing that this past few weeks. The second reason will be mental hunger, where maybe we're just feeling bored or we're feeling, you know, we're thinking about something from the past that's blocking us from being in the present moment. And the third is physical hunger, true physical hunger. And when you change those 3 B's, what it does is it gives you the soothing that you're looking for if you are wanting to eat for mental or emotional reasons, or if you're wanting to drink for mental or emotional reasons. And it helps you get the comfort that you need without reaching for the extra food. Because we all know that it doesn't work in the long run anyway, does it? It might feel good for a minute. It might soothe us. It might, you know, send some happy chemicals into the body if we're eating sugar or some other substance that secretes endorphins in the body. But then afterwards we feel even worse, don't we? And when we go to bed at night, and I'll just speak for myself, I know if I eat out of control during the day, then when I go to bed at night, it's like I just feel bad. I wish that I hadn't done it. And, you know, we wish we had a rewind button and we could redo it. So using food to comfort yourself doesn't really work anyway. And I think when you really know that and when you really have that aha moment and you know, you guys trust me, I know this seems so simple, but just doing this just for a few moments, and I dare you all to try this throughout the rest of the day and coming weeks, that this can give you what you need, that this can help you realize that you're okay, that it works so much better than eating and it's so much quicker. So sometimes we'll hear advice that says, oh, you just need to go for a walk or take a bath or read a book. And some of those are things that we can't really do or that take a lot of energy. But this we can do, and it's easier than reaching for food. It takes just a split second and it works so much better. So the second letter is I, and that stands for rating the intensity. So when you do this, all of a sudden you're going to realize if you were mentally and emotionally hungry or if you're physically hungry. And if you're physically hungry, you're just going to check in and almost imagine that there is a dial that you could turn up and down and that you're observing this dial. And it's okay to just pretend that you can see it. If you're an analytical person and you don't think you can really see it, just pretend there's a dial and that you could notice how intense that physical hunger is on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is like absolutely starving and you like all you can think about is food because your stomach is growling and you're just starving. And 10 is absolutely stuffed, like so full, all you want to do is like get horizontal and go to sleep. So the appropriate place to eat is if you're at about a 3 or a 4. So 5 is just neutral. And if you're just starting to notice physical hunger, then that would be about a 3 or a 4 where you notice some emptiness in your stomach. And here I can hear some of you saying, well, I don't know how to tune into my own body. I don't know how to tune into true hunger. And I want you to know that it's okay to make it up. It's okay to kind of guess at first, because as you start to guess, you actually start to get in tune with your body and notice. And your physical stomach is located just below your rib cage and a little bit to the left, I believe. Now I'm not sure if it's to the left or to the right, but it doesn't matter. So if you're noticing hunger signals from another place in your body, from perhaps low in your belly where your food is being digested, or sometimes people feel a hunger almost in their throat or their chest, that's likely of an emotional or mental hunger. So when you just do this, it helps you tune into your body and just imagine that dial. And if you're at a 3 or a 4, then it's appropriate to eat. I'd like you to be gentle to yourself. Don't starve yourself. Take good care of yourself. So if you're down at a 2 or a 1, you've waited too long. And it's okay, because you're going to get better and better at this. So the first N in winner is for nest. I want you just to imagine like a metaphorical nest of comfort, so that every time you eat, you make this nest for yourself by putting your food on a plate or in a bowl and by sitting down. And this can be the hardest step, I think, for many people, but you're going to find that as you start doing this, that your eating behavior becomes really enjoyable. And so if any of you feel like you kind of unconsciously eat and you're eating in a trance and you're halfway done and you're like, what am I doing? This simple step of nesting is going to break that food trance so that you're consciously eating and you're noticing and you're giving your body what it needs. The next N is for nurture. So you're simply, before you start, you sit down, you've got your plate, your fork, your spoon, whatever it is, your food is on a plate or a bowl, you're sitting down, and then I just want you to nurture yourself by taking 3 gentle breaths. And there's a specific way to breathe. If you breathe from low in your belly, like you're inflating a balloon, and you exhale for longer than you inhale, it actually turns off those anxiety chemicals in the brain and lets you step into peace. It's actually the parasympathetic nervous system, which people refer to as the rest and digest system. So it lets you actually digest your food better. It's more favorable for your metabolism, so that if you've been struggling with, your efforts not paying off because maybe you think your metabolism isn't working faster, taking these 3 breaths is going to fix that for you. And then the E is for examine. So you're going to really pay attention to your food. Before you take that first bite, really look at it. So how often do we, just mindlessly eat whatever? When you really look at that food, when you feel it on your tongue as you take that first bite, when you notice the sensation of swallowing it into your stomach, it helps you get back in tune with your body, no matter how long it's been since you felt like you could tune into your body. And then R, this is my favorite one, you guys. I love this one, is for rhythm. And I've had people tell me, put your fork down between every bite before. And I'm like, that seems like such a pain. I am not going to do that. But when I had it explained as a rhythm, almost like your mealtime is a dance or a symphony, and you take a bite, you put your plate down. You kind of just check in with that dial, take another bite, put the fork down, check in with that dial. And if you're eating something handheld like a burrito, you just place that food down, the spoon down, whatever it is that you're holding, and you enter into this rhythm. And it might feel a little bit strange or weird at first, almost like when you rode a bike the first time and you kept falling off and getting back up. And conscious learning is really hard and uncomfortable. But what you're going to find is that you get into this rhythm and it becomes automatic. And it becomes unconscious. And I can guarantee you that most people, the people you look at it and you think, oh, they've never struggled with their weight. They don't have a problem with this. This is something that they tend to do unconsciously. They don't even realize they're doing it. Just like you've created this really great unconscious program of reaching for food for other reasons than physical nutrition. So what you're going to find is that with repetition, this becomes automatic. And then at the end of this call, when you get the replay later, watch your email, because I'll send you the replay. And if you don't see it, message me. But I'm going to give you this PDF, the winner formula, and then I'm going to give you an option to purchase a morning hypnosis, a morning affirmation and hypnosis, and a bedtime affirmation and hypnosis. And I'm making them they're just going to be $10, because I want to make sure everyone gets it who can get it. And if you can't afford $10 and you really want it, message me and I will give it to you. I will buy it for you, because I want everyone to have this. And I truly believe, you guys, that this will change your life, that this will give you everything you need to find success, so that if you don't have the money to invest in my program, that you can still find the success that you need. All right. So I see that there are 34 things in the chat, and I want to see if there's any questions, but I don't want to read all 34 questions. So if anyone has a question before we jump into the hypnosis portion of this session, please go ahead and ask in the chat right now. I see some really great comments saying that it's value. Okay, what are the 3 B's? Great question. Thank you, Kathy. So the 3 B's, and I'll remind you of this on the graphic and in the day. Every morning I'll remind you of the 3 B's and the winner formula so that it just becomes automatic, even if it seems a little bit confusing or overwhelming right now. The 3 B's are body language, breathing, and beliefs. And beliefs seem like this big ethereal thing that's really hard to switch. But honestly, all beliefs is your self-talk that you have been doing on repetition. And it might be self-talk that was programmed into you when you were a little kid and that you now have taken on as belief. But when you change those 3 B's, and I'd like you to do it in that order. First, change your body language, then change your breathing, and then start some new self-talk. That this can be as simple as, I am okay. I am in control. I am the boss of food. I am the boss of alcohol. When you start saying those things to yourself, all of a sudden you notice that urge disappears, because it's actually impossible for you to be saying, I am at peace, and simultaneously be craving food. So just changing those 3 B's can switch everything off. Okay, someone is asking, oh, that's not a question for me. Someone's talking to Wendy, so I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, one thing, as we go into this hypnosis session, many of you on this call are also hypnotists, and many of you have a lot of experience with hypnosis, and I think that is so cool. So just for the sake of anyone who might be new to hypnosis, or like I used to might feel a little bit nervous about hypnosis, I just want to really quickly explain that what you can expect in these next few minutes, and I promise that I will have you completely alert and refreshed by the end of the hour. So you can just relax if you have something to do after this hour, knowing that we'll be done with this at the end of the hour. But what you can expect to experience for the next 20 minutes or so is just a state of relaxation, of remembering that those things that you brought into the beginning of this session are now just placed gently to the side, and that you're free to just enjoy this experience. And some people, when they experience hypnosis, experience almost like a heaviness, like they're sinking into the surface beneath them. And some experience a lightness, like they're floating. And a lot of people experience the mysterious sensation of simply sitting there and listening to the sound of my voice. You might remember everything you hear. You might forget everything you hear. You might feel like you're starting to fall asleep, but just know that that subconscious part of you, that part of you that's been generating the overeating program or the overdrinking program, is always listening, is always aware, and is taking the suggestions that I give and aligning them to be just right for you. So if I say anything that doesn't resonate with you, it's totally okay to just let that go, or transform it and change it and tweak it to fit your specific situation. And hypnosis is kind of cool because it's a natural state that we go in and out of every single day. It's a theta brainwave state. And you always experience this state as you're drifting off to sleep at night, just in that, that moment between consciousness and asleep, where you kind of, reality becomes a little distorted almost. That is a natural state of hypnosis. And you experience the same thing every morning, just as you're waking up in the morning, in that moment between dreams and between starting to think what day is it? What's going on in the world? There's a little moment of that theta brainwave state, that natural hypnotic state that lets you easily reprogram beliefs. So when you get the replay to this call, the morning affirmation that you can purchase if you'd like, is designed for you to listen to just as you're waking up in the morning, when you're in this highly programmable, highly suggestible state that lets you start to shift your beliefs. So if you're feeling like, oh, I'm always going to struggle with my weight, or I don't know how to get back in control, even if you're feeling really skeptical or feeling like you might be the exception to the rule, when you listen to these affirmations during that time of day, it's going to help you reprogram with repetition. And that's how hypnosis works. A lot of it works with repetition, where we've already taught ourselves, hypnotized ourselves with repetition to turn to food for reasons other than physical comfort, physical hunger. And now we're just going to be switching it around and using that exact same natural process to program ourselves to feel completely peaceful and comfortable with food. And it's going to allow you to attain and then maintain your ideal body weight without having to struggle, without having to use willpower, with just switching to that 3B and following the winner formula. You're going to find yourself in that place of peace. So I'm just peeking at the comments. So yes, the entire session is 1 hour. I will have you out of here in 23 minutes. And then I'm going to stay on the call to answer questions and do a pain relief session and talk about exercise and just meet you where you are for if you want to hang out longer. But I will have this hypnosis session will be over in 23 minutes. Okay. All right, I'm going to switch my microphone. I don't like holding a microphone while I do these sessions, but this one sounds better for the hypnosis part. All right, can I get a thumbs up if you can all still hear me on this microphone? Awesome. Okay. So what I'd like to do is, before you even close your eyes, I'd like to just show you how easy it is to get into that hypnotic state. This is something you can do on your own anytime that puts you in that suggestible place where you can make a suggestion to yourself like, I am in control. I don't need that extra food. I'm the boss. Whatever's right for you, simply by doing this exercise that I'm going to show you. So what I'd like you to do is just hold your hand up a few inches in front of your face. And if that's not comfortable, you can find some other object to look at, but just begin to notice and focus intently and intensely on that hand. Just noticing the lines on that hand. Noticing the space between your pinky finger and your ring finger. The space between your ring finger and middle finger. The space between the ring finger and first finger. The space around that hand. Perhaps noticing the sensations in that hand you weren't aware of a moment ago. As you notice the space between that hand and your face. As you continue to stare intently at that hand, just noticing the space around you. The space between my words. The space between thoughts. And as you gently relax that hand down to a comfortable place, just allow yourself to become aware of the space inside you that feels peace, that notices comfort. Knowing that it can be this easy to get into a highly suggestible hypnotic state where you can tell yourself, I am at peace. And even your body believes you. As you begin to program yourself to be easily comfortable without food. As you realize that it's okay to nourish yourself with food. It's okay to take care of yourself by eating when you're at a level 3 or a 4, not letting yourself get all the way down to a 1 or 2 where you just feel starving, but taking good care of yourself at that level 3 or 4. I'd like you to imagine yourself going throughout the rest of today and even the rest of this week, feeling calm around food, feeling a gentle assurance that something is shifting and has already shifted. Coming to a sort of an aha moment that lets you know that you can be peaceful around food, that peace lets you make great decisions, lets you eat between a 3 and a 7 so that you're never starving and you're never stuffed. You allow a pleasant sensation of hunger and a pleasant sensation of satisfaction, knowing that it's safe to feel satisfied. And I'd like you to imagine yourself going throughout the day, remembering to use those 3 Bs. Even if you feel a little bit silly, remembering to change your body language as if a string is pulling you up from the top of your head.
You're looking up. Your face is pointed upward and you're telling yourself, I am okay. I am calm, with a smile on your face, taking a deep belly breath with a long, slow exhale that lets you just rest into the moment. If you were nervous about eating too much food at mealtime before, now realizing that simply shifting your breathing and being fully aware by eating in that little nest where you put the food on a plate or bowl and sit down to eat lets you be completely in control, lets you eat consciously, lets you enjoy your food. And now I'd like you to imagine that you are in a very, very safe place. This may be a place that you know or a place that you imagine in your mind. Imagine that you're there now, seeing the things that are in that safe place, hearing the sounds of that safe place, perhaps becoming aware of the aroma of safety, feeling the feeling of being comforted in that safe place. And in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'd like you to imagine that someone very safe and trusted comes into that space with you, someone who's going to give you a gift, a revelation that lets you absolutely know that you can feel completely calm and peaceful and in control with food and alcohol from now on. This person might be a trusted friend or a relative or an advisor. It might be someone from your past. It might be someone real or someone fictional. You might even imagine that it's me there with you, or a representation of your core self. And now just noticing yourself in this safe space again, noticing what you see, hear, smell, and feel. Just allow that safe, trusted person to appear before you, maybe as if they're walking through a door or showing up in some other way. And imagine that they give you a gift. It might be a gift of wisdom. It might be something symbolic that you can look at and understand, even on an unconscious level, what that symbol means. That thing that lets you know that you get to be free from now on. No matter how long you've been struggling with this, whether it's something new or something that's been in your life for a long time, that you get to be free as you memorize this gift. And it's okay if you're not consciously aware what the gift is, knowing that your unconscious mind is making this change for you now. And I'd like you just to say thank you. Perhaps noticing an internal smile and peace as you just say thank you. And I'd like you to imagine yourself that the very next time you're going to eat, or perhaps the very next time you might be tempted to eat when it's not appropriate to do so. And I'd like you just to imagine yourself remembering to immediately switch those 3 B's. You might not feel like it, you might not think it's going to work, but you just do it anyway, just as an experiment. Shifting your body language into the posture of joy, perhaps of power, of peace. I'd like you to imagine in this scene that you change your breathing, that you notice your breathing is very calm, very peaceful. Breathing from low in your belly with long, slow exhalations. Knowing that it's okay to comfort yourself with your self-talk, that it's okay for you to give yourself a pep talk. It's okay for you to say, I can do it. I've got this. I am okay. Because the truth is that you've been doing this all along. You've been motivating yourself with your self-talk. Perhaps you were saying things like, oh, I can't do this. I'm bored. I'm hungry. This is too hard. And your body believed you. So now that you know it's okay to change that self-talk, even if it feels like it's not true at first, when you start to change that self-talk, you are stepping out of that hypnotic trance of overeating and stepping in to a new identity of being at peace, in control, feeling calm, comfortable, and safe around food. And now I'd like you to imagine yourself a week from now, noticing the things that have changed, noticing what it's like to go to bed at night with a sense of relief. Now that that old issue is a thing of the past, noticing the peace that you feel, the joy, and just telling yourself, thank you. Thank you. Did you know that every time you tell yourself thank you for even the tiniest thing that you do right, that your subconscious automatically recreates what you celebrate? So it's okay to acknowledge the things you do right. Even if you're used to only paying attention to what you did wrong in the past, now you're going to notice yourself becoming aware of every good decision. When you notice that urge to eat that you used to have and you immediately shift into the 3 Bs and let that urge go, that you tell yourself, thank you, or even celebrate by saying, good job. And it can be as simple as that, easy and enjoyable. As you're using your conscious mind to change subconscious patterns. And the very fact that you weren't trying to overeat or overdrink before proves that it's a subconscious program. It's a part of you that was making it happen on autopilot. And using those 3 Bs and listening to this recording is allowing you to reprogram that subconscious part of you to literally create new neural pathways in the brain that allow you to experience peace with food, that allow you to feel calm. And I'd like you to think to yourself, even now, I can remain calm around food. And notice how when you think that suggestion to yourself, your body relaxes a little bit. And if you've been dealing with wanting to drink a little bit more, I would like you just to suggest to yourself, I can remain calm with alcohol. And I'd like you to imagine when you sip alcohol, if that's appropriate for you, that you really taste it like never before, that you feel it moving down your throat and into your stomach. And if you're a person who doesn't drink alcohol, that you enjoy just taking clear, fresh, sparkling water. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if every one of you is starting to notice a sort of a thirst, a dryness in your mouth that lets you crave clear, fresh, sparkling water. So that as soon as we're done here today, the first thing you do is go over and pour yourself a glass, knowing that it's safe to nourish your body, to hydrate your body, to cleanse your body with clear, fresh, sparkling water. And I'd like you to imagine just being soothed in this moment. Become aware of comfort. Become aware of calm. Even becoming aware of community and all the people who are here in this virtual room with us right now, experiencing this same level of relaxation. this same peace. And as you experience that peace, I'd like you to imagine that it's 6 months from now. And you're getting ready in the morning and you're realizing how amazing you feel because you are free. You are free from those urges and cravings that used to feel like they controlled you, as you now realize, I am the boss. As you now realize that it really can be as easy as simply changing those 3 B's of body language, breathing, and beliefs, which is just your self-talk, that it's okay to give yourself a pep talk. And that those pep talks have now become automatic. So you don't even have to think about it anymore. You simply go throughout your day and experience calm, comfort, and control around food. Feeling peaceful. That it's easy to make healthy choices. That when you have a choice, you love choosing the most healthy, whole options. And as you go throughout the rest of the day today, you might notice a little bit of a sensation of your subconscious mind putting all these new programs into place. You might notice an excitement. And if you forget for a moment, know that that's what conscious learning feels like, and it's okay. Because every time you forget or slip up, that it's actually a sign that you're on the right track. That you get to simply go back and remember that winner formula. Because each time you repeat it, each time you get back up on that bike, you continue to put unconscious processes into place that allow you to experience peace from now on, that allow you to attain and easily maintain your most ideal healthy body. Having a peaceful relationship with food and drink, nourishing your body with clear, sparkling water, healthy, whole foods that make you feel great. Getting more and more used to tuning into your body, even if you thought you couldn't before, beginning to realize, I did notice my body, and just saying thank you as a way of letting your subconscious mind know that it wants you, that you want it to recreate what you're celebrating. And as you sleep and dream tonight, all these processes can just continue to be moved into the places that are just right for you, creating programs, creating automaticity that lets you experience peace, that lets you release those cravings without using willpower, just by shifting into those 3 B's. Even if you don't feel like it, just doing it anyway with a sense of playfulness and adventure. And in a moment, not quite yet, but in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And with each number up, you're going to become more excited about what's happened today, about the transformation of your relationship with food and your body. With each number up, you're going to become more and more aware of how appropriate it is to take good care of yourself, never letting yourself get too hungry or too full. And with each number up, you're going to become more aware of vibrancy and vitality in your mind and body. Because 1 can always come back to awareness, feeling 3 times better than before. And you can open your eyes and be wide awake on 5, feeling absolutely amazing, refreshed, and alert. Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to switch my microphone back.
All right, can you all still hear me? Can I have a thumbs up if you can hear me? All right. Oh, thank you for doing that with me. I absolutely loved that experience. In a moment, I'm going to go into the chat, and I'm also going to enable your microphones. So if you would like to unmute yourself, feel free to do so. You might want to keep yourself muted unless you're actually speaking, because sometimes there's background noise happening in the room that you're in that can get really distracting and can keep other people from hearing what's being said. But you're welcome to unmute yourself if you would like to share. So before I do that, before I go into the chat, I want to remind you, first I want to thank you all so much for being here. I love this, and I am so grateful for every single one of you who has joined today and you who are watching the replay. And in about 3 hours, I'm going to send you an email. So be watching. It's Lori@trancypants.com is my email address. And I'm going to send you an email with a link to this replay. And you'll be able to find that graphic that I shared with the winner formula. And you'll be able to purchase the morning and evening hypnosis recordings that you can listen to at that time of day when you're most programmable, as you're waking up in the morning and as you're falling asleep at night. And you're going to find that it just creates a repetition and an automaticity that lets you find success. And because I want to make sure that you get everything you need, if you don't have $10 to invest in that program, please get in touch with me and I will buy it for you. Okay, so let me go into the chat. And I'm also going to make it possible for you to unmute your own microphones. Okay. All right, so I'm seeing thank yous, thank yous, thank yous. If you've asked a question previously and it's way up at the top because people have been chatting, which I absolutely love, go ahead and pop your question back in the chat. I see so many people saying thank you, and that makes me so happy, you guys. I'm so glad you enjoyed this. I'm so glad you found value. Like I said, no matter what your situation or reason is for being here, no matter how stuck you've been feeling, I want you to know that I believe that the things that I taught you today will apply to your situation. And so in a moment, I'm going to just talk about pain relief, and I'm going to share a protocol that many of you are likely familiar with that I learned from my dear friend Freddie Jacquin called the arrow technique. And the arrow technique is so awesome for pain, and it's going to be especially effective now because you've all just come out of this hypnotic experience where you're kind of already in the zone and you're really good at using your imagination, whether that's to visualize or think about what I walk you through in some other way. When your body actually codes physical and emotional pain in the exact same way. So if you're not feeling any kind of physical pain in your body, but perhaps you've been experiencing emotional discomfort with everything that's going on in the world or with whatever's happening in your specific situation, you can use this protocol that I'm going to walk you through for physical pain and discomfort, or for mental or emotional pain or discomfort. And it works really amazingly because the imagination game that we're about to play actually sends a signal to the part of you that is giving that pain signal and lets it know that it's okay to let go of that signal. So this works especially well for chronic pain, for something that you're experiencing on an ongoing basis. You know, maybe you've been to the doctor and the doctor can't do anything else for you. It's a way of showing your body, okay, I know this problem is here, but it's okay to release that pain. And maybe give you a new signal, you know, if it's something that's saying, oh, don't move your arm that way, that it can remind you not to move your arm that way in some other way, that it can allow you to take care of yourself in some other way. And I don't know what that way is, but you'll become aware of the way that's just right for you. I'm going to peek at the comments really quickly. So people are saying, I love the arrow. I use it for anything. Someone else said, PayPal, I want to buy a copy for me and 9 other people. Oh my gosh, I love that, William. So yeah, I'll have a link set up on my page to make it really easy for you to do that, however you'd like. Someone's saying I have to go. I'm just making sure there's no questions about what the experience we're about to do. Okay. I am going to stop this recording and restart it fresh because we're right at the hour. So if you've been watching this and you want to participate in the pain exercise, the pain relief exercise we're about to do, you can watch the next recording that will be posted somewhere on this page. I'm sure there will be a button to click somewhere. So let me just